Welcome to Management of Portfolio Practitioner course. This is module number 1, an introductory module. Before we move on, let's look into what One World Training is all about. One World Training is a global training organization providing business simulation and training. They have offices in the USA, the UK, the Netherlands, India, Malaysia, and other parts of the world. We provide training in IT, business management, project management, ISO standards, and various other standards. We deliver training in different ways. We offer public classroom-based trainings, online trainings, e-learning, blended approaches, and on-site training for private and government organizations. We are an authorized training center, and we are endorsed by leading global professional bodies. A few of our endorsements are on this particular slide. This is basically a set of products of SROs. The current product that we are looking at is the portfolio management product. So if you're interested in looking into upskilling yourself with some of the products on the SROs front, I would recommend products like Prince2, which is a very popular product on the project management front. And if you are in a role of managing multiple projects, you could look at MSP, which stands for Managing Successful Programs. And this particular module is for those who are engaged in the portfolio management arena. Now, cutting across the project, the program, and the portfolio world are frameworks like management of risk. We would need to manage risk at the project level, at the program level, and the portfolio level. So MOR provides a good set of best practices for managing risks. MOV is management of value, provides value for prioritizing strategic objectives and investments. And then P3O is a pretty good guide for those of you who are engaged in the support structures within the organization, portfolio officers, program officers, and project officers. So this is a framework that helps you to implement, sustain, and improve the portfolio program and project office management practices. ITIL is a framework for IT service management. So we have a range of products within the ITIL world. And on the left side, you have a couple of maturity models to gauge the maturity of an organization on the project, program, and the portfolio front. Let's look into the purpose and the scope of management of portfolios product. The purpose is to provide practitioners with universally acceptable principles and practices that will enable individuals and organizations, both large and small, to successfully introduce or re-energize portfolio management approaches. So this is a practice that would help to introduce new portfolio management practices, or if you already have existing practices in place, you could re-energize and mature some of those practices. The scope includes the following. Portfolio management can be applied in a wide variety of situations. It could be applied at an enterprise level. It could be applied at a functional level. You could apply portfolio management in IT, HR, marketing levels too. The focus of MoP is on organizations' collective investment in programs and projects or change initiatives that are focused on contributing to the achievement of strategic objectives and business priorities. So who are the target audiences for this particular product? Anyone with an interest and or role in delivering programs and projects and organizational strategy from the inception to delivery. This includes members of management boards. Different organizations have different terms for management boards. It could be called as an investment committee or the steering committee, no matter what the names are. So the members of these boards could be beneficiaries of this framework, directors of change, senior responsible owners, people who champion programs within the organization, and then portfolio program, project, business change and benefits managers, business case writers and project appraisers, and those in other functions departments with a role in delivering strategic objectives. Syllabus areas that we would cover The 7 syllabus areas, and there are relevant chapter reference numbers for you over here, and the number of questions that they would ask you at level 1 and level 2 of learning. So overview is one of the syllabus areas. Implement, sustain, and measure is another syllabus area we would cover. Strategic and organizational context, the principles of portfolio management along with the 2 cycles, and the roles and documentation. So the relevant chapter numbers within the official guides are laid out for you over here. Let's kind of look into a bit about the practitioner exam. What's the purpose of this particular qualification, the practitioner exam qualification? The purpose is to confirm whether the candidate has achieved sufficient understanding of how to apply and tailor MoP guidance. Now, the what is something that you would have learned as a part of the foundation course, but as a part of the practitioner, they would test your ability to apply what you have learned and tailor the MoP guidance, and to analyze portfolio data, documentation, and roles in relation to a scenario situation. A successful practitioner candidate should, with suitable support, be able to advise on the implementation of appropriate practices and techniques and apply the method to a live portfolio, but may not be sufficiently be skilled to do this appropriately for all situations. Their individual expertise, the complexity of the portfolio, and the support provided will also influence the impact the practitioner can achieve. The target audience, as we kind of looked at earlier on, this is a qualification that is aimed at those involved in a range of formal and informal portfolio management roles encompassing investment decision-making, project and program delivery, and benefits realization. It is relevant to all those involved in the selection and delivery of business change initiatives, including members of the management board and directors of change, SROs, portfolio program, project business change, and benefits managers, and business case writers and project appraisers. So, high-level performance definition of a successful candidate. Candidates should be able to apply and understand how to tailor MoP effectively. Specifically, candidates should be able to demonstrate their ability to define the business case to get senior management approval for portfolio management. I mean, why should the organization invest in the portfolio management implementation or re-energizing it? So you should be able to demonstrate an ability to define a business case, plan the implementation of portfolio management, select and adapt MoP principles, practices, and techniques to suit different organizational environments, evaluate examples of MoP information, including documents and role descriptions, analyze the solutions adopted in relation to a given scenario. Now, the exam consists of 3 key components. You would be given a scenario component. You would need to understand the scenario, and then the questions component, and you would need to choose a right answer for each of the questions. In fact, we would provide you with some sample practitioner exam videos too that would really help you in understanding the structure of the practitioner exam. The scenario component, the exam will include 1 scenario which will describe the organization, business objectives, challenges faced, portfolio objectives, and high-level approach adopted to manage the portfolio. So in one of the videos, we will take you through a sample scenario in terms of looking out for some of these contents. Each scenario will be based on an easily understood business model that is not country or cultural specific. Scenario information will be kept to a minimum and will include typically 1 to 3 pages. The question preamble or additional information will be used to provide the specific information needed for answering an individual question. Additional information for a question is only to be used for that particular question and is not required to answer any other question. The question component would have 4 questions. Each question would have 4 to 6 parts, and each part question will contain a number of question items. Each question item will be worth 1 mark with a question totaling 20 marks. All information provided within a question item will only apply to that question item only and will not be used for the answer of another question item. Some additional notes on the question booklet. Roles and documentation in the exam will appear in the title case, example, portfolio manager, P and M in title case. Documents such as a portfolio delivery plan would appear as P, D, and P in letters rather than in lowercase as in the MoP guide. The reason for this is to aid the candidate when sitting the practitioner exam by making roles and documentation. If a term or technique is used in a sentence and it would not normally make sense, it will be highlighted by using inverted commas, for example, management exception, one version of the truth, etc. Candidates should not require a calculator, although a simple non-scientific calculator may be taken into the practitioner exam. They may, however, be required to do simple mental calculations, and they can annotate questions, additional information on a piece of paper that you might have with you for the exam. The component, each question item option will be represented by a single oval, and the candidate indicates their chosen answer by choosing the correct option. So as we kind of looked at earlier on, you would have 4 20-mark questions totaling 80 question items or lines. This would be an open book exam. You could use the official MoP guide. Dictionary translation lists allowed for non-native speakers. 50% questions are at learning level 3. In other words, we should be able to apply what we learn. Another 50% at level 4 to analyze. This would be a 3-hour examination. You're expected to get 40 marks out of 80. In other words, 50% is the cutoff. All question items gain 1 mark for a correct answer. There is no negative marking. For all question items, if more or less than the required number of responses are given, the answer scores 0. No partial marks are awarded for any question item. This includes multiple response question items where a mark is gained only if the 2 required options are identified. A little bit about the practitioner's syllabus and exam. So these are the syllabus areas that we kind of looked at earlier on: overview, sustain and measure, strategic organizational content, portfolio management principles, portfolio definition cycle, portfolio delivery cycle, roles and documentations. And then on this side of the axis, you have the question numbers. Question number 1 would be on implementing, sustaining, and measure. Question number 2 is on portfolio definition cycle. Portfolio number 3 is the portfolio delivery cycle, and question number 4 is roles and documentation. So across these 4 questions, what are the type of questions that you could be examined in the exam is what is represented on this particular slide. A few notes for you. The use of roles and documentation can also be tested within the other 3 syllabus areas. For example, when you kind of look into roles and documentation, on this particular slide, it is given that this would be tested in question number 4. But a note is you could also be tested on roles and documentations in the other 3 questions besides the 4th question. Note number 2, each question will test a minimum of 2 syllabus topics. For example, question number 2 examines you on the overview syllabus area and the portfolio management syllabus area. A minimum of 2 areas in each of the questions would be covered in the exam. Questions will not test the content of the examples in the shaded boxes in the MoP guide. So in the official guide, there are a lot of examples given. Those examples would not be tested in the examination.